Welcome to the news, yeah. So today we're going back to childhood. Alright, we're going back into the suit of the childhood body. Oh, yeah. Well, stay to the end to find out how we get to the end. So, today we're just going to talk about going back into the childhood body because it has to do with Dinky T Change4Games, Dinky Tech and Change4Games Studios, which is sort of the brand that we're sort of working towards making little bits at a time. And the ideation today revolves around going back into the childhood body because upon being a younger version of the self, there was a time upon which a lot of focus revolved around the trading card industry. Trading cards in terms of X-Men, for example. So today we're trying to full circle bring that back into the brand to in essence implement the ideation of developing a cross between the connection between Pokemon Go cards and Gary Vaynerchuk and his Vee Friends cards and characters. So it's kind of also like a symbol of combining the music industry and the film industry at the same time. An analogy, a crossover, a cross-reference, if you will. So in essence, what we're making that reference to is Pokemon Go is like music. For example, the music industry, a representation, and also business music, which is what I have referred to in this podcast many times, which is what this podcast is kind of all about. It's the music in everybody to make a business for the better of the world. And then at the same time, the connection to Gary Vaynerchuk is the ideation of the New World conceptual film industry, which has to do with more or less personal branding and leveraging also the trading card industry as well to be able to make the connection between Pokemon Go and the essence of Pokemon Go, the video game, as well as augmented reality potential in the future with business music. But then also Gary Vaynerchuk is making his own card brand called Vee Friends, which is a card game at the same time. And so we're trying to we're trying to move into that space mentally. And so again, when I was a kid, I was playing with X-Men cards and sort of also ideating how to get the most flare-focused cards, hologram and flare-based cards, which means there was flare, there was glitter, there was a fantastically unique art about the trading card artistry. And so that's what we're trying to bring into today's podcast. Corresponds to developing Dinky T Change4Games cards, trading cards, and the concept game that revolves around the mindset to be able to bring more of this dynamic to life with sort of a product that is based in board games, if you will, to be able to go back to childhood, which is the purpose of this brand, Dinky T Change4Games and Dinky Tech and Change4Games Studios, to use DJing as sort of a way to promote, have an ability to promote and travel to promote the cause and the brand in real life, IRL, which is a social media platform in of itself, IRL, if you will. And so, therefore, bringing the trading card industry into this process and developing art and unique art and NFTs and different ways to try to connect almost as technology. A small card can also have technology in it, similar to how a card for making transactions to do a debit card or a credit card has technology in it as well. That's the type of technology that I'm talking about. That can be inside of a trading card. For example, that can be a combination of an NFT and a regular physical baseball card, old school baseball card, for example. But the artistry, the art factor inside of these old school trading cards that I used to have for X-Men cards, there was one called Marvel Masterpiece, which was sort of the highlight focus, which when I go back to childhood, that brings a lot of sparkles to the mindset as well, to the forefront of the mindset of how it was a positive influence. And so going back into that child suit, getting into the child suit and revisiting that encounter and experience makes it so full circle. It makes more sense and most sense for the Dinky T Change4Games brand to, in essence, bring forth more so art on cards, in bringing forth the combination between Gary Vaynerchuk and Pokemon Go. Pokemon is a brand which is selling cards at high values, over hundreds of thousands of dollars for Pokemon cards. So the same with Gary Vaynerchuk. He released his NFTs for Vee Friends ages ago and made over $100 million of his original drawings in the form of NFTs, digital format drawings. And at the same time, they're also representations and symbols of like the music and the film industry combining as one, to try to combine forces for the new world, in essence, which is Change4Games Studios land, which is Change4Games Studios. That's Change4Games Studios is what that more so is representative of. It's the combination of a theme park, a music festival, and a film studio all in one. Is like the new world, what the new world looks like in Dinky T Change4Games and Dinky Tech and Change4Games Studios world. The second version is like the longer version. The shorter version is like the attempted shorter version, which is what hopefully these trading cards would be named after. Dinky T Change4Games. It's like trying to change the paradigm by changing the name and trying to fit into the right groove of having like a stage name to try to do live music with, and then at the same time have swag in the background, such as these trading cards, and trying to develop culture similar to Pokemon and similar to Vee Friends, for example. And Vee Friends is representative of the film industry, because Vee Friends in of itself is trying to be like a Disney brand. Vee Friends, Gary Vaynerchuk's brand, is trying to be like Disney. So that's why we're trying to do this like a film studio, basically, and like also connect to like the baseball card, like the sports industry. It connects full circle, the sports industry and the film industry, to be able to make games for change, which is why our brand is called Dinky T Change4Games, to try to talk to Dinky Tech, which is a symbolic dog character, to be able to ride into the future, ride the airwaves of the frequency and music making and business music making in the future, which is what Pokemon Go is symbolic of, the augmented reality version of Pokemon Go, which is a video game which empowers everyone in the world to be able to play that video game and empower themselves to be able to pull themselves along in the world and be obligated based upon a video game and having fun and being distracted by more or less doing good deeds, and then doing good deeds around the world, so that everybody in the world is doing like a global good deeds musical and developing the global good deeds economy. Like that's the type of business music that we're talking about in terms of business music performances, making like a business music flash mob musical around the world, if you will. Like, and it's all a musical that everyone's participating in, because everybody has a heartbeat in the world, and everybody surreptitiously is playing the game of business, but surreptitiously to enhance the game of business for every person in the world. If they're all playing a Pokemon Go-like game called Dinky T Change4Games, which corresponds to Dinky T. Dinky Tech is the main character, like in Pokemon Go. We're talking about Pokemon and such things, and Dinky T is like the main character, and all the little character friends beyond that are friends of Dinky T. Dinky T, Dinky Tech. In other words, Dinky T is short for tech, he's supposed to try to have a bunch of friends, and all of his friends are trying to help to bring awareness to this new brand, to this new life, to this new experience, to this new society and culture that's in the digital, physical, metaphysical world and metaphysical realm, so that these characters can try to start to come to life, and they can try to start to come to life in the form of little baseball cards similar to X-Men cards, and look very unique, interesting, and have flair. And they can potentially hold also the technology to either be NFTs and be digital assets, and or have physical presence and have technology actually based within them, like a credit card chip has, to be able to develop communication potential and connection with the rest of the world, and have deep potential for larger conceptual trading value among them by having this type of technology in them, regardless of the specific function known right this moment. The ideation is that the value within this physical asset can be related to a utility function, have a utility function. Like one of them can be a phone, for example. It can have the ability to make phone calls. If the technology is small enough to fit a small little flat phone technology inside of a baseball card, That's the type of a technology enhancement that I'm referring to in essence. But the main focus, like Pokemon and like Pokemon Go, is the culture behind the characters and the encounters, similar to anime, similar to animation in the anime realm, that we're trying to sort of enhance and emulate this same society and culture to combine that. So that's like a representation of business music, because we're talking about augmented reality combined with Pokemon Go and leveraging that experience to look through the visuals of the eyeballs of someone holding their phone in augmented reality land, so that they can transpose themselves into the Dinky Tech and Change4Games Studios land, so that more or less it's just also the ideation of like unhypnotizing the self by having more fun in life and focusing on what matters most, ideally, which is good deeds and a global good deeds economy, by having a similar reward to Pokemon Go, but in the form of like a global musical that is based around a global good deeds flash mob, happening all within this video game, basically. And this giant, connection that also starts in baseball cards. It stems in baseball cards, similar to Pokemon Go. And so we want to try to bring that full circle to a future where we're also connecting to movies and video characters, and having the ability to just bring it around to make more business music sound through these characters, and use this episode as like a reminder to continue to make video content like Gary Vaynerchuk and like the team that he has around him, to be able to facilitate a better movie making process, a better content development process, a better reminder to the world of how important content development is and how it empowers every single human being on the planet to be part of the global philanthropy energy grid, because we're all connected and everybody is a business and everybody's an investor, based on everyone being part of the same cellular ecosystem that binds all of our capabilities in the realm of a similar realm, a similar space in life, where everyone's got the potential to have access to a similar result if the similar causes try to equal those results, and there's a similarity among all humans and humanity that have an interest to solve problems at the end of the day. And so leading by example causes us to also want to, it's like a side of hypnosis, if you will. Like, I am trying to be like an accountability coach on the side for people, and at the same time I'm trying to look for ways to be a hypnotist, or like market myself as like an unhypnotizing hypnotist, basically unhypnotizing hypnotist accountability coach, based upon leveraging the ideation similar to what we're trying to do at scale, which is hypnotize the world into playing this game through the Dinky T Change4Games sort of methodology of like having a DJ process, a DJ figure and character, and sort of stage running, functional mascot, if you will, so that the front run of that is just sort of like the focus to follow a culture that is all about, similar to Pokemon Go, playing an augmented reality game that corresponds to doing good deeds all around the whole world, like a global musical that's ongoing into perpetuity, where everybody in the world is playing it on an ongoing basis, because it's a cool thing to do, a cool trend, just like Pokemon Go in of itself, the global good deeds economy, and surreptitiously everyone participates and has fun and changes the world into one ginormous business that makes everybody a part of the game and everybody important at the same time, so everybody else picks up everybody else in the world and acknowledges their importance significantly, based on what Gary Vaynerchuk says is also the purpose and the point and the process related to personal branding and content development and media development making, which is why he's a symbol for the new film industry, speaking to the things that are special to every single person in the world, although they don't necessarily feel like trying to identify those things in their video content and in their media content. It's possible because it's capable, because everybody already has that innately within them. They just don't necessarily like to and want to talk about it per se. But that's the whole dynamic, the whole purpose of the whole symbol behind Gary Vaynerchuk, as that sort of conceptual presence, if you will, and sort of on a personal basis to also market the self, to bring more awareness, to get more clout, if you will, as Dinky T, to bring more availability to, more cash flow for the greater, grander business that I am trying to get people to take actions by being their accountability coach, but marketing it as an unhypnotizing hypnotist accountability coach, so that more or less the market value of being a hypnotist, if you will, because we want people to take actions similar to like how I was talking about playing a video game and changing the world surreptitiously, which is a significant business and economic global value, that surreptitiously as an accountability coach within brackets as a hypnotist coach, that the market value of the price that hopefully can be charged can go up in sort of correspondence to the hypnotist market, if you will, in air quotes. And at the same time, it's by trying to get people to take actions within a certain time frame, a certain specific time frame, so that it's beyond their comfort level, but nonetheless they have a result, they get it done. Somewhat like this cheeky, annoying podcast that every day there's like a little something there, a little something new, because there's an obligation to try to get one of these little weird podcasts done a day, so that there's just something there, and that therefore just kind of keeps it moving along. And that's the purpose of the accountability coach hypnotism sort of process that we're trying to offer people. So if you're interested and you're looking for it, then just try to follow the email address that's attached to this podcast, if you will, and we'll try to set you up at the same time as we try to continue to market ourselves in a micro and a macro sense, which is, in this micro sense, we're trying to focus on causing results for people to act quickly, and if they don't, that they get, that they have a emotional, sort of flicker in a negative sense, because that's the whole purpose, is to just like go through the obstacle, like just to facilitate within a certain time frame. And so surreptitiously that they are able to do the things that they do because they've already done them, do the things that they wanted to do because they've already done them before they realized that they had a chance to be self-conscious about doing them, because they were obligated to by a certain time, because otherwise they are sort of punished punished based on their own criteria of how they feel like they should and would want to be punished, based upon sort of something that's derogatory against them taking action, which is at the speed of the accountability coach, which corresponds to them getting their goals done, which they had apprehension about to begin with, which is the purpose served for the accountability coach. And at the same time, it's an hypnotism, because at the same time, the action taking causes them to try to surreptitiously, in other words, get the things that they wanted to get done before they had a chance to be self-conscious about it, in terms of the mindset that we're trying to convey on a micro sense to folks, sort of kind of in a more localized sense, more micro sense, in terms of interactions with in a localized sense with folks, if you will. And that's all for now. Thanks again, Dinky Tech and Change4Games Studios. Bye, peace, bye. And let's all remember to push for world peace every single day. Let's all remember to push for world peace every single day. Let's push for world peace every single day. And also, let's remember to try to clear the animal shelters. Let's clear all the animal shelters in the world. Let's clear all the animal shelters in the world, because we can foster all the shelter animals. We can adopt all the shelter animals in the world. We can rescue all the shelter animals in the world. And we can also hire the shelter animals as healers. We can also hire the shelter animals as healers all throughout the world, so that they don't have to be mistreated in animal shelters. And we can clear the animal shelters, and we can hire the shelter animals as healers throughout our communities. Hire the shelter animals as healers throughout our communities, because they also work for free, and they could use better purpose and use better jobs and be able to add value and be therapeutic energy for humans and humanity, to help us be more harmonious as humans and among humanity for all the animals in the world, to clear all the animal shelters, to try to get them to transition their energy in terms of therapeutic energy to all humans, so we can clear the animal shelters, to add value to humanity in terms of harmony if possible. And let's push for world peace every single day and clear the animal shelters every day. That's all for now. Thanks again, Dinky Tech and Change4Games Studios. Bye. Peace. Bye.